Yeah, there's Zoom on my laptop, and then my phone is putting it to Facebook Live. So you might, I don't know what you see, but you probably see my face over here and my cell phone over here. So there we go. We're both on the screen. You look better on screen than I do. I'm taking a...
Okay.
Alrighty.
There it is. I see.
Awesome. Don't you look good? Look at that.
I'm working on this.
Carlos Anthony, everybody. Yeah. There's one person on there so far. Is that you, Carlos?
That is me. That's the one person on there.
There's going to be more because Adam Dominguez is putting these up on my YouTube and all that. It's going to go to iTunes and Spotify eventually when I find a 4-year-old.
Good deal. Sounds good.
Yeah. So talk to me about what do you do to encourage people in the whole world about going through their very first pandemic?
I tell people that it's straightforward. Keep your head up. My motto is always head up, move forward. So I'm one of those people that I don't panic. I've tried not to panic unless it's a real situation that requires that. So I just tell people just to head up, move forward, do the best you can in this situation. Try to make sure you stay as positive as possible. I think that's the biggest thing right now is everything that's going on. We get so much negative news and negative attention about what's going on. People telling you what to do. You don't know what the hell to do. Right now, do stuff for yourself. Stay calm. Protect yourself. And just stay at home.
Yes.
You're worried about anything, stay at home.
Stay at home. Yeah, I live with a bunch of veterans here at the Veterans Village. And there's this one guy that came down with the virus and he won't stay in his room. Now we're talking a real situation, and you don't want to trigger my PTSD. I will come at you.
See what you got to do with people like that. See, you can't get within 6 feet of them, but I believe you can find a broomstick that's about 6 feet, and you just start whacking the shit out of him every time he comes around.
Oh my goodness sakes. I posted about him and he saw it on Facebook and he messaged me not to make him the bad guy. And I go, you are the bad guy.
Yeah, it's those people who just, if you know that you can have it and you know how easy it is to infect other people, just stay your ass home. It's 14 days. Just sit down somewhere to get you some good groceries. Hopefully you got Netflix and chill or Voodoo or one of those streaming sites. Go on Facebook all day long. Just do that for 14 days and let it go. Just let it pass out your system.
Yeah, it's not that bad. 14 days is nothing in the scheme of things, huh?
It's not bad. We've done way more in 14 days. So people just take a moment. Just take a moment just to relax.
Yes. Now your comedy roots go way back. I'm very humbled to be in your presence because you started in 2007.
Yeah, around 2007. I was trying to think of that before I even came on. It's been so long since I've been doing this. But the reality for me, I hate to tell people how long I've been doing it, simply because I'm one of those people that's like, once you get the name, then that matters. But until then, just keep working. Just keep working. I'm not worried about how long I've been doing it. I'm just trying to do the best I can with the time I've done it.
Yes. What is the biggest change that you've made in your comedy from lessons that you've learned in comedy?
I'm still learning lessons. That's every day, every chance we get to go out and do this thing we love called comedy. It's you're finding something new about yourself every day. The biggest thing that I've learned about myself is to be myself. I think that is the biggest thing with comics. Is we watch so much. A lot of us watch a lot of comedy, and sometimes we start to emulate those people that we watch all the time. Sometimes it's a conscious effort, sometimes it's subconscious. I think we have to learn how to just be ourselves, because comedy is one of those genres where there is something for everyone. You don't have to model yours myself, and I'm still learning.
Yes. It's funny because it's like unraveling an onion because we think we've gotten to who we are and then we learn something new and we have to unravel that. And we just keep unraveling our whole life, really.
That's why I say it's an everyday process. I'm learning stuff about myself comedically, even in this pandemic. Is because we don't have that stage time like we used to. Is what are you going to do to continue to stay creative? What are you going to do continue to be at the top of your game? And so it's hard, but it's one of those things that I'm challenging myself to do.
Yes. Now, how do you think that you're going to be a better comic because you went through this? Because, like, to me, that's the only hope.
Because it's giving me time to reflect on the question you just asked. Is what is this going to do to make me better? And at the end of the day, if you're not taking the time to write, you're not taking the time to try to be creative, even in this moment, then you're going to be at a loss. So when this is over and said, when this is all said and done, I hope to come out of this with better material. I don't want this to be about the coronavirus. There's plenty of things I'm trying to dive deep into my childhood and my life in general, and get those stories out. Those stories I was scared to tell, that are funny. I'm trying to reach into that, and so when we come out of this, hopefully y'all will see a more open and honest Carlos.
Nice. I was doing comedy, and about 4 years into it, I did comedy, and my roommate, he wasn't that impressed with the comedy he heard for the first time. And so I knew it, and he said, "Have you ever thought about being authentic?" And I went home and cried for 2 weeks in my room. And then I started looking up what it means to be authentic. And I'll tell you, if somebody can get in tune with who they're authentic, I don't like to go all Oprah on people, but if you get in tune with who you really are and let who you really are shine through on stage, you can make a lot of mistakes on stage and people will forgive it.
Most definitely. One of the lessons I learned in the very beginning when I told my dad I was going to do comedy, I had all these fancy names that I was going to call myself, and I was coming up with names. I was like, I got to have this name that people are going to be. He was like, your name speaks for itself. It's like, why do you need to make up a name in order to do that? Anthony is actually my middle name, so it's still me. But he was like, why do you have to make up a name to be somebody on stage? And I was like,
that's nailing it.
I'll just be me.
Yeah. There's a lady in New York at Caroline's, and she's in charge of new talent, and her name is Linda Smith. So when I started, she got hacked off at me that I was using her name. I'm like, it's my name. It's like, whatever.
Use my name.
Once in a while, people will friend me or think that they know me from Caroline's, and it's weird because we're both older, and she went through brain injury, and so did I. So in some ways, people never get it straight.
Yeah, that's okay. They know Linda Smith, whether it's you or the other. So
yeah, I think she's helping me a lot more than I'm helping her. So
hey, take it for what it's worth.
Have you ever had people say to you, "Oh," and then confuse you with another comic that you're similar to in style or looks?
Not as looks, yeah. Style, no. I can't remember. Hanging with Mr. Cooper, I get that a lot. I don't know why. I don't think I look like Mark Curry.
No.
And there's a couple other ones that when they say it, I'm like, oh, okay, I've heard that before. A non-comedian is MC Hammer. I've got that several times. I don't know where they see MC Hammer at all.
No, I don't see that. Huh. So you started comedy in 2007, and what was going through your mind that made you go, "Yep, I'm gonna do it"?
The true story is I started comedy as a joke. It was in Memphis, Tennessee, at a place called Crumpy's. They did Crumpy's Hot Wings. They were doing comedy in the back of a hot wing place, and it was like an open mic night. And I was like, okay, me and a couple of my friends and I went, and these dudes were bombing. I mean, they were eating it. and we were like laughing in the background, but we were laughing more at our clowning in the background. And so they were like, well, if you think you're good, if you think you're any better, just get up there and do it. I was like, well, shit, I can't do no worse than what I'm seeing. And so got up there and I actually won that little contest that one night. And I thought, well, I guess I could be funny. But people have to realize comedy on stage is different than being comedy with your friends. It is two completely different things, because after that I thought I had, you do that one comedy thing, you're like, oh man, I got this mastered. I'm just going to be funny naturally. And I'm going to get up here on every time and I'm going to kill it. No, ma'am. It doesn't work like that. It's a craft that you got to work in.
Yes.
It's a craft that you literally have to work in. So when you eat it a couple of times, you start realizing that maybe I should either work on my craft or quit.
So what's what bit or set that you've done has taken the most work that you hold on to and just love because it's been a labor of love?
I don't know if I've worked that hard at it, but any bits about my kids or my experiences in Atlanta have been interesting to me, because I lived in Atlanta 3 different times, and each time was always something different that was going on. Those are my labor of loves of my children. They are.
Let's talk about them. What ages are your children?
13 and 20.
13 and 20? 12. 13 and 12. Oh, so is it the oldest is 2 boys, 2 girls, or one of each?
Boys.
2 boys.
Boys.
Awesome. So are they thinking of following in Daddy's footsteps into comedy?
No, they haven't said. They try to be funny, and they crack little jokes from here and there. But I think it's because they see me doing it. So whether they do it or not, I don't care. I just want them to be productive in life. I'm not one of those parents to be like, hey, you got to do what I do, or you got to do something that I always wanted to do, but just never had the guts to do it. I'm not one of those parents. So I want them to fly on their own, and I'll support it in any way. Very
good. So in the world, where all has your comedy taken you?
I've been to a lot of the United States, Australia once. It's been an interesting ride. I want to do more stuff overseas, though. I just want to really test my mettle in places like London, in Latin America is another place I'd like to, because I just want to see how it translates. I heard a lot of comedy goes down in China and in Asia. I want to try it. I want to see what happens, how that translates over there.
Do you have any military in your family, or are you ex-military?
I am not. I was in the Boy Scouts in maybe 1983, around there.
It counts. It counts. America. Boy Scouts.
Boy Scouts of America. There you go.
Yeah.
My father was in the reserves, but he was in the band, so he didn't go to fight no wars or nothing. He just played for everybody when they came back. And so that was about it. I take that back. My uncles were in the Navy. I forgot about that. I had 2 uncles that were in the Navy.
Nice.
So, military in my family.
Have you ever thought about joining up with some of these guys that go over for the troops around the world?
By all means, I think that would be an excellent opportunity for not only for myself, but again to those guys in stressful times, and they're serving the country and they're trying to do right by the country, and what better way to take some of that stress off via laughter. So by all means, if I ever get the opportunity to do that, I'm taking it.
Thank you. I've done comedy for military and veterans on both sides of the coast, all by myself. And one night I went to the VA hospital to get a prescription in the middle of the night, and there was a guy in a wheelchair up in the cafeteria. So I said, "Do you want to hear my jokes?" Because I needed practice. I'm not going to lie. So I tell him my jokes, and he started crying. And he said, "You know, the last time anybody told me jokes was when Bob Hope came to Vietnam."
Oh, wow. See?
They're out there.
People, I don't think that people underestimate the power of laughter. I just think that they don't get it enough.
Yeah.
So it's one of those situations where we have the best job in entertainment by far, to me, outside of musician. But it's just something about comedy that gets people. So the more we can make people laugh, I think the better this world will ever be.
Me too. I feel like it's an essential. You know, I think the world needs to heal right now from a lot of trauma. And I just wish that we were out there doing comedy when people really need to hear it. But whatever.
Well, we don't get that opportunity, I think, sooner than later. It's just going to be one of those situations now because of everything that's going on. Is how are people going to come out? How is that comedy club going to look now with regards to the guidelines for social distancing and how you're seating people now? So it's going to. I forgot. I think I heard on somebody's Instagram live not too long ago about how people are going to have to be seated now. And if you're one of those comics that are straight on, it's going to change the way you do comedy because you're going to have to be more of paying attention as to where people are.
Yeah. So when Wynn Resorts wants to take your temperature to go in, are you going to allow it?
No. Absolutely not. I think we still have civil liberties. I mean, people get sick all the time. And it's one of those situations where you're not going to now control me and what I do and how I do it just to go in your place. I'd rather not go into the wind if that was a requirement.
I know. I would do it if it's going to be rectally.
Oh, okay. Well, everybody has a dream. Everybody has a dream if they want to do something.
The girl's got a dream.
Hey, there you go. Hey,
Why do you think I go on airplanes?
I guess I won't be flying no time soon.
Oh, that's just being silly. But if you had it, what's the number one thing? I know you're a positive guy and very politically correct, but when you watch, I've seen you at Rebar watching young comics. So, and we're reluctant to give each other feedback or act like a jerk or, criticize people or how that's taken. But what's the number one thing that new comics do well and number one thing you've seen they do horribly?
Excuse me. Do well, they are fearless. I think the new comics come in, a lot of them come in with this, hey, I'm going to take over the world mentality, and I can appreciate that. I believe that's honestly what we as older comics, veterans of the game, should actually keep in our repertoire because we get to thinking too much. And let me not even say we. I get to thinking too much sometimes about what I'm doing. Should I do that? Should I say this? Should I go here? And it's one of those things I think new comics do fairly well because they don't know. They don't know if they should or shouldn't. So they're just testing it out. The flip side to that is I think that new comics should have an appreciation for those that have led the way. A lot of them bullshit with their understanding of the craft and think that it is easy. And like I said, I had that mentality at the onset as well as I thought this was easy. I'm funny with my friends. I can just hop on stage at any moment and just let it make people laugh, and that is a false. You are not killing the game every night. You're going to have those ebbs and flows of comedy that come with it. Accept that. Be able to accept your failures. And if you are able to accept your failures, then you're going to be able to learn how to be a better, authentic comic.
Got it. If you could go right now safely out of your place and do comedy anywhere in the world, where would you want to go right now today if money wasn't even an issue?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Thank you. That's like an applause break.
Yeah, any comedy club, any place where people are going to come and they want to release the stress of these moments. And we have the LA Comedy Club here, which is excellent. We have several other comedy clubs around here. Rebar is a good one for, if you're working stuff out. We have so many places around this city that you can go. If you got New York, like you mentioned, Carolines is one. Places that you can get into in LA, but I think any comic right now that is raring to go and want to make people laugh, people want to come. Any comic place in this country I'd be open to go to right now.
Where do you stand on the divisive topic about you should get training and you shouldn't get training? The stage is your training.
I believe the stage is your training.
Okay.
I do believe that. However, I'm not opposed to people who feel like it's going to benefit them to seek professional help. Those who are in the game, who have been in the game for a while and have been successful. I have to stress that, because people need to look at who's actually teaching them about the game of comedy, because a lot of people are out here saying, hey, come to my comedy class. It's only $50 or $100 and you don't get any benefit out of it. It's just you're paying your money to sit there and do the same thing that you could actually do on stage. So you have to be very cognizant of if it is someone you're paying, that is someone that has been tried, true, proven and true in this game, and that they are going to lead you in a direction that's going to help your comedy career, help you become a better comic. So to each his own. Some people have that natural ability where they don't have to seek out, professional help. Great, but there are some that need it, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Very cool. So, like when you do comedy, can you explain in your own words what your way of reading a room is? Because everybody throws it out, oh, you have to read a room. What is reading a room to you, Carlos Anthony?
I pay attention to if there are comments going on before me, I'm paying attention to what the audience is responding to. I'm paying attention to their body language, the sounds of their laughter, all those bits that that get them. I'm reading how to direct what I'm going to do when I get up there and play off of that. If I'm one of the first comics, right, I'm the first comics, I always watch audiences when they come in. You get a good feel or a good vibe of people when they're coming in. Are they upbeat? Are they walking in and scared? You get that vibe as a comic, or you should get that vibe by just watching people. We are people watchers. Comics are people watchers, and that's what you do. And we get information from every place, including just watching sometimes. So I'm constantly watching the audience, listening, and trying to make sure that when I get up there, I accommodate. Even in the midst of your set, you may have to shift gears sometimes because what you're doing is not capturing them the way that you want it to. You got to be able to read that room and understand you're not hitting and then shift gears. So it's a constant effort.
Some people are so good that their first couple jokes could bomb. They could switch gears and you don't even know they switched gears. I've seen people do that. They just do.
I've seen some masters at that.
Yeah.
So it's a craft that goes all the way to the point of consistently working on your craft. And if you're able to do that, then you adapt to situations just like that. It becomes second nature. And once you get to that level, then to me you're the consummate pro.
Yes. Who's been the biggest influence comedically for you?
Chappelle.
Love that.
Hands down. I think he is, bar none, I think he is the most intelligent comedian. I think he can be the most controversial and still be funny. I think he educates you in his comedy. Outside of comedy, he's done so many things in the communities that he's been involved in. And so, to me, Chappelle, by far, is the best comedian ever. And that's bar none. Are there greats? Yes. There are great comics. I'd be remiss not to say Richard Pryor, any one of those, Eddie Murphy. But to me, even Chappelle is still light years above them.
Wow.
Seinfeld is light years above them.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. I love that I got to meet, I walked into a coffee shop in New York City. Are you sad that there's not very many people on here? They'll come on later.
It's okay.
There were some. I walked into a coffee shop in 2005 in New York City, and Dave Chappelle was there. And I had a little Kodak camera, and I said, if I stand way over there, can I take your picture? And he said, sure. So I took his picture, got home, and there was no film in the camera.
Oh, no.
Yeah, he was so nice about it because he was like, You know, she's being pretty cool about it. Okay, you can have my picture, but I'm sure if I went up to him, I'd have gotten a whole different, you know. In New York, you don't.
But they say he's a, yeah, they say he's real down to earth. They say he's very accommodating. I've met him in passing, but I didn't ask to take any picture. I don't typically ask anyone to take a picture, but I've heard he's very accommodating, and he tries to. And people have to respect those people's time as well. And, they don't want to always be on, and that includes when they're out in public. They just want to be regular to everybody else. We think that they are greatest thing ever. We have to be in their presence, but just be cool.
Just be cool. Yeah, especially in New York, like it's not cool to be doing that. And he was with, I think, his wife, and they were having a private conversation. So that's why I want to be far away, but just ask for a picture.
Right.
But that was before I even did comedy.
Yeah, he's the number one by far to me.
It was really cool to see him in person.
Most definitely.
Yeah. So, how has this is my last little question other than a wrap-up question. So, for my second to the last question, in what way do you think the pandemic is going to make you a better comic or a better human?
As I said before, it's going to make me a better comic by having to challenge myself in this time where I'm not on stage to still be creative.
Yes.
I think we have to seize these opportunities. We have to take these opportunities to not just sit around and be stressed out and worry, because this world is going to need us when the green light is open or given to come back out. So I think you have to just use this time wisely, be as creative as you possibly can, be as productive as you possibly can. As far as a better human, it makes me, again, appreciate life for what it is, because just like that, this country can turn and take your liberties away and things away just like that. So you have to be able to appreciate. I've seen more people outside now spending time with their families, riding bikes, just doing things like that I think are outstanding in this time. So hopefully we can keep that up.
Yes. So the last thing I want to ask you, Carlos, is the pandemic has probably hit you at your level of comedy in your pocketbook. So are you accepting Cash App, Venmo, PayPal?
No.
Okay.
No. I'm one of those, and I understand it. I understand that we are not working, that we are not getting the money that we were getting from performing, but I'm trusting, and I have the faith and understanding that I'm okay. Things are going to be okay. I understand. I'm not asking for anybody to send me anything, because I want them to keep it for themselves and use that for your own families in this particular time. Just when this thing is lifted, come out and support us. That's all I want.
I love it. And speaking of supporting you, where online would you like to have support?
Most definitely. Comedian Carlos Anthony is my main Facebook page, but I think I have it. That one is loaded up right now. So Carlos Anthony 2 is my second Facebook page. I have a YouTube channel, Comedian Carlos Anthony, Comedian Carlos on Instagram, and I think that's it. I have a like page, Comedian Carlos, as well on Facebook.
So, Comedian Carlos Anthony on YouTube. What's your Instagram again?
Comedian Carlos.
Thanks. And what's the last one?
The like page, the Facebook like page is also Comedian Carlos.
Got it. I'll get those posted to this in a few minutes and see if we get any traffic. Do you sell any merchandise anywhere?
No, I'm actually working on a couple of things. So again, I'm trying to stay, and you got to be productive in this moment. So when it's time to come out, there'll be some things that I'll be able to push out when I'm performing.
So you have some merchandise coming out soon.
I'm working on some things. I want it to be, again, we're going back to that phrase, that word, authentic. I want it to be authentic.
Yes.
I want it to be something that people are going to be like, oh, okay, that's worth it.
I love it. I have enjoyed getting to know you, and I know when people get back to looking at this, throughout the day, people will click on it, and it'll go up on my YouTube, and it'll get more And so thank you so much, Carlos Anthony, for talking to me.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
And I can't wait to see you back out at comedy and give you a hug.
We'll be out there. I'll see you soon for sure. I'm counting on it.
Okay, awesome. Bye. Thank you. Love you.
Thank you.
Love you lots. Bye. Bye.